Coming, slowly to an end of this panel discussion. The question, the last question is, in social media, is the medium still the message?
This was a good thought you had.
Yeah,
I really like this.
I don't know where this thought came from. I was just tossing around ideas one day, and I guess it's, there was a time when you, and I guess you guys want to speak a bit more to this, a time when you were buying media and all these sort of things, and where you placed your message said a lot about you as a company. Okay. With all of these social media tools, is that really still the case? There are so many of these tools out there, and so many people are trying so many different things and being sort of everywhere. Financial companies in the middle of an island in Second Life. Does it matter anymore? Is the medium for the message? Do these things have any? Social media is this big media blob, and you can kind of be anywhere in it. It doesn't really matter where.
Or if you have a Facebook fan group that you've
anything?
done.
I mean, maybe Facebook, you could have younger. I mean, MySpace and younger Facebook, maybe. Does that sort of stuff even reach still?
In a sense, though, yeah. It's like if you're trying to reach out to the technology pioneers and social media gurus like Alan here, then if you're not on Twitter, it's a knock against you. It's like if you're trying to reach out to college kids in the Midwest and you're not on MySpace, then I mean, how'd you miss that boat? So there is something to be said for making sure you're at least where your target audience is.
In the same way, but even like on TV, the brands that run during a football game are going to be very different than the ones that run during soap operas. As the same way, who's on Facebook, who's on MySpace, who's in Second Life. I mean, why is anybody in Second Life? But why is financial companies in Second Life, in particular, unless maybe they have identified that the people who use that are part of that target.
Does it make you cooler as a financial company in some way to be Second Life?
Maybe.
Brands freak me out all of a sudden seeing
and at the time, it's there could be the PR opportunity just for the sake of doing it.
And at the time, it was actually at the time when a lot, when Second Life was sort of the new thing. It did make them seem cooler, or at least it said there's somebody there who's technologically savvy enough, who's sort of social media savvy enough to know that they should be doing this, because not every
validating it.
Right, because not every financial company was on there. So it didn't, and the same way, as much as it seems like everybody is doing this, it's only a real tip of the iceberg.
A financial company makes a widget, and I am a day trader, and it really helps me out to have this widget, and it's not, too onerous, and that their logo isn't too big. It's tastefully done. Then the medium can be the message because they've created value for me. Bumping into their avatar in Second Life, I don't know, doesn't work for me. But it just depends. I mean, I wasn't sure if I wanted certain companies following me on Twitter, and then Alan said, but you know what? Sometimes when it's an actual personality there, I said, okay, I'll do a case-by-case basis, but I'm not going to allow JetBlue just to follow me. Because JetBlue, all they want from me, and I understand this, I'm a marketer, but all they want are my dollars. They're not giving me any value otherwise. If they were, giving me trip advice or just something of value, then it would work. So in that sense, maybe it'll be the message. But again, it's not like you can just say, turn on a blog, do a widget. You really have to think it out.
I mean, but even if JetBlue is actually trying to pay attention to the to New York-based media people who or
they can certainly listen through TweetScan. Absolutely, I agree.
Well, why not make it easier for them? But
I might. I'm a toughie. I know.
You don't have to follow. I mean, the beauty of Twitter is you don't have to follow them back.
I know. Yeah, it's true. Candidates that have followed me that I just on principle have to block. No way. But yeah. I don't know if you got the answer to that question, but that was a really good point.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it was partly because at some point, this young generation coming through using all these social media tools, that they just expect us to be there, and it's not going to. Like sometimes if you're living, you don't expect the brand. Seeing it there can mean a lot.
But it also goes into that whole thing that I talk about. Your brand is not brand. Which is that too many brands expect you to be their friend in a social media way, and there's a whole number of brands. Things I call prom king brands you want to be friends with. Whether it's Virgin, Apple, Starbucks, things that you might actually wear a hat or a T-shirt with their logo on. But the vast majority of brands, you don't, you may like them and use them, you just don't want to be their friend. And so if people use social media incorrectly, if they're starting, a group in MySpace and really giving you no value other than like, come to us, then that's a negative, and it shows that they're sort of clueless. But if they use it correctly, then you're like, hey, maybe they do get it.
Like Sci-Fi Channel did something really interesting, and they were following all these sci-fi bloggers. And Sci-Fi is an incredibly prolific group. They're very dedicated to their shows, absolutely just writing. From the bloggers as well, and they're giving all these ideas. And so the Sci-Fi Channel was saying, we're monitoring your blogs. Let's get 30 of you on site for a week. You'll meet actors, but you'll meet the right crew, all access pass. And in that way, it gave value to the sci-fi bloggers, and they could say, you know what, this is what goes on behind the scenes. They listen to this, they listen to this. Hey, I met this great actor and this great actor. I got to see the different scenes. They're actually smaller in person and whatnot. And then wrote about that. And that gave value to their community to find out more behind the scenes about their favorite sci-fi shows. So there, the medium was the message because they brought them on site, which is 1.0 or 0.0, but they were able to say, how can we use this to continue your dedication and continue those customers? That's the message to me.
And even on a simple level, if you're a startup, you don't have that kind of budget, or you don't have that much to even show them,
Sure.
just you send a special link that not everyone else has, a few photos, or a video clip not widely available, and giving people some sense of exclusivity. And again, but like what you're saying, this is marketing 1.0. It's just that you have these new tools and channels to use.
Found them that way.
Yes.
You found them. You're able to keep that going that way, and you're able to not write thought leadership paper that you don't have the resources for, but a few blog posts.
Yeah.
So it's for these startups to really be able to dabble in it, listen and monitor your space, and then kind of go one step at a time. But there's a lot to be said for what else is available to you.
Wow.
The right strategy.
Great thought. Thank you very much for the moment.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I think we're about social media and as a powerful tool for startups, which can be used from the very first moment, the various tools in social media. And if you like to, you can address a last message to young entrepreneurs here in the States or also in Europe. If you like to, go ahead.
There's a lot to be said for going to these people's blogs. I want to make sure we say that. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of great tips and tools there.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
Is the main thing that I wanted to leave you guys with is not to be afraid of social media, and not to be afraid to listen and learn before you jump in. To take time to really realize what the unwritten rules of whatever space you're in are. You don't make missteps that way by doing something that's sort of inappropriate in that space or on that platform, and then jump in. And I think you'll find that it's a lot more fun. They realizing fun is sort of an odd word for something like this, but you meet people and you make friends and you actually feel, especially being an entrepreneur is sort of a lonely business at some level, and suddenly you have an instant community, and that's not to be underestimated.
That comes to mind is, I don't know if it was the title of a book of Calvin and Hobbes comics, or just some of those in one of the books, but at one point Calvin says there's treasure everywhere. And so as far as entrepreneurs approaching social media, it's just like, there's just so much treasure to take part in, and mind it and enjoy it, and just use it any way you can.
Yeah, it truly is the journey when you're working with startups. Very passionate. But to think about when you're using social media, not just to look how value from an audience, but how to give them value. That's going to be so much of your job done for you, because that's going to have them talking about you positively, as well as creating those long-term customer relationships. So remember, it's two-way. It's a two conversation. It's two-way value. So, and enjoy it.
I reiterate a bit what Alan said. Give it a go. It's great fun. Just jump in, but have a plan. A plan's important, and some goals are very important to give you a bit of structure around it. But other than that, just give it a go.
Yeah, thank you.